deep dive.
Mm-hmm.
We love to kind of get in
Yeah.
and wrestle with some interesting ideas, and today's no exception.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we are going to be looking at this idea of seeking God with all your heart. And we've got this devotional text that's been really speaking to me.
Okay.
And it's interesting because it pulls from Jeremiah 29.13.
Mm-hmm.
And, if you're familiar with that passage,
Right.
it's, those were words to the Israelites
Mm-hmm.
when they were exiled in Babylon.
Yeah.
And so they were really longing for home.
Yeah.
And so I was thinking about that. What makes this promise so powerful that it still speaks to us thousands of years later?
Right. It's pretty incredible when you think about it.
Yeah.
Here are these people, they're feeling completely lost and abandoned. And God essentially says, you'll find me when you seek me with all your heart. Like, what a powerful image. It's just so simple, yet so profound. And it's not a blank check, is it? It's conditional.
Yeah, and that's the thing that gets me.
What's up?
Is this all your heart thing? What does that even look like
Oh.
in our world? Where there's just like constant distractions and
Yeah.
everything's vying for our attention.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, back then, for the Israelites, it meant clinging to faith. Even when they were surrounded by this culture that didn't worship their God. In a way, we're surrounded by a different kind of culture today, right? It's like the culture of busyness, of constant information overload.
Yes, I feel that. I feel like it just sucks you in.
Yeah, it's so easy to get swept up in it all and lose sight of what truly matters.
And this devotional, it's interesting. It's not just about saying like a quick prayer before bed and calling it good, right?
Exactly. It's so much more than that. It's about making a conscious decision to put God first, even amidst all the chaos and the craziness.
Almost like saying, okay, God, you matter more to me than you know. Checking social media or catching up on the news.
Yeah, I think that's a great way to put it. It's about aligning your priorities. And, when you make that shift, you'll find that your whole focus kind of changes. It becomes less about demanding answers to your prayers and more about deepening that connection with God himself.
See, I like that a lot because, that reminds me of something else that the devotional was talking about. It's not just about getting answers. It's about finding the answer.
Right. That's a beautiful way to think about it. And it really highlights the importance of relationship.
Yeah, it's about building that relationship.
Exactly. Like any relationship, you have to nurture it. You got to put in the effort, right?
Yeah, you can't just expect it to like magically happen. You have to be intentional about it.
Yeah, you got to be present.
Yeah.
And thankfully, we're not just left to figure this all out on our own. The devotional actually gives us some practical advice.
What's that? Yeah, because I feel like I need that.
Right.
Okay, so like what are some things that we can actually do to kind of nurture that connection?
Well, it talks about things like prayer, studying scripture, serving others.
Okay, so like the classic stuff.
Right, but it frames them in a different way. It's not about checking things off a list. It's about seeing them as opportunities to connect with God, to show up in that relationship.
So it's not about the motions.
No, not at all. It's about the heart behind it. It's about that genuine connection.
Yeah, because there's that saying, right?
What's that?
That, we can be busy but not productive. We can be going through the motions but not really connecting.
Right, and that's not what we want.
No, and that's not what I think this is about. One thing that really hit me from this devotional is that it's saying when we truly seek, we start to see differently. We start to see God everywhere, not just, in church or during our prayer time.
Right, right. It's like God's presence isn't limited to those moments.
Exactly. And I think that's something that N.T. Wright talks about, too.
Yeah, he's a brilliant scholar. And he makes this really interesting point that even these ancient scriptures, like Jeremiah, they have something to say to us today.
I love that. It's not just some old dusty book.
No, it's alive. It's relevant. And Wright argues that God's presence, it's woven into the very fabric of our lives.
So basically what we're saying is, if we really believe that, if we're truly pursuing God with all our heart, we might start noticing him in everyday moments.
Yeah, in the ordinary things. That beautiful sunset you saw, a conversation that lifted your spirits, an act of kindness from a stranger.
Right, like God can be in those things.
Absolutely. We just got to be looking for it.
Yeah, so it's not just about this internal thing, it's also about how we interact with the world.
That's where the This Is Cool challenge comes in.
Oh yeah, tell me about that. So that was something I wanted to ask about.
Well, it's a really simple idea, but it can be really powerful. It encourages you to write down the names of people who need encouragement.
Okay, so you're thinking of specific people. Okay, and then what?
And then you reach out to them. You actually do something about it.
Oh, I like that. Because it's so easy to just think about it.
Yeah. And then not actually do anything, but this challenge, it pushes you to take action.
Okay, so how do we reach out to them? Is it like a specific thing?
It can be anything. A simple text, a phone call, maybe a handwritten note.
Oh, that's nice. I like that.
It's whatever feels right for that person.
So be intentional.
Exactly. It's about seeking with all your heart
Mm-hmm.
and then letting that overflow into something tangible, something that blesses others.
Love that. Because it's not just about us.
No, it's about sharing that love and support
Mm.
with the world around us.
So, okay, let's kind of bring this all together.
Sounds good.
What we're learning is that seeking God with all your heart, it's the key to finding Him,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not like a passive waiting game.
No, it's an active journey.
Yes. It's about making that relationship a priority
Yeah,
and then letting it influence everything we do.
exactly. It's a beautiful thing.
Okay, so as we wrap up here, I
Right.
want to leave our listeners with a little challenge.
Okay.
Think about this. What is one thing that you could change this week to reflect a more intentional pursuit of God?
Mm.
Maybe it's setting aside a few minutes each day to just connect. Or maybe it's taking that "this is cool" challenge
Mm-hmm.
and actually doing it.
It doesn't have to be a huge, even small changes
Yeah.
can make a big difference. You might be surprised by what you discover along the way.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah, this was great. Thanks for having me.